Okay, so those who came in after, my name is Talent Manyonga, and I love myself Talent Money. And I want to remind you that money matters and we must be champions. So today I'm going to be talking of generational wealth. So if you look at the word generational wealth, what does it really mean? So I went to Google, because I just also wanted to understand what Google says. So Google says generational wealth refers to any kind of assets that are passed down from one family generation to another. These assets can include stocks, real estate, family business, and any other investments. So that's what Google says. But for me, when I also look at generational wealth, I take it as this is anything we pass on to our children's children, like our successes. Businesses is what we say. Like I'm an author, so the realities of an author, so that's generational wealth. I'm willing to pass to my children, and we're passing that as well. Because I also need to give them that emotional intelligence on how to manage that wealth I'm passing through them. So I highlighted this. It says for us to live generational wealth, we need to provide financial security and opportunities for future generations, which I feel like many people, that's where we felt, especially amongst us Africans. Before on that part, like of providing the generational security. Because if I look at my dad, I always want to refer back to my stories. My dad in a company, or he still has a company. He started this company in 1988. And with him, his idea was his children will need to run his business. But looking back, there was not that financial security for us to run his business. Because it was more like, if you look, especially in Zimbabwe culture, like the boy child and the girl child were kind of treated differently. It's more like it was women, the boy child, like my two brothers, more like, okay, these ones are the leaders for this business. But as this girl child, we kind of left behind, like, okay. So for me, I think there's another, because at the end of the day, I say I'm going to get married and I'm not going to inherit this new name anyway. So let's go further, just understand the term of generational wealth. So generational wealth is not solely about financial wealth, but also encompasses social, intellectual, and cultural capital. As I mentioned that I'm an author, and obviously the royalties from my books to generational wealth to my kids. It is a long-term approach to building and preserving wealth that goes beyond individual success. So when I was also researching about generational wealth, I noticed that, especially on Africans, it's only 1% of us who manage to have generational wealth for the generations to come, which is like really progress. 99% we are somewhere there with no generational wealth for our children or the next generations to come. So the goal is to create a lasting legacy that can benefit future generations, breaking the cycle of poverty and creating opportunities for prosperity. Right. So I also went further just to understand of generational wealth. So generational wealth should not just mean money. It should include breaking generational cases. I know we always pray about generational cases and all that. A sister will say that we need to be that first case, like it begins with me. Like for me to break like those generational cases, like poor habits, character traits, establishing traditions, which doesn't say to be in that one case with generational wealth. I can give an example of my grandfather. He was a wealthy man. Unfortunately, he died before I was born. But I had like lots of cattle, and back then that was like a form of wealth in our tradition. But him, what did he do? When he was a polygamist, he went on and married 9 wives. So all his cattle they got finished, because obviously married you need to pay lobola, and back then they were using cattle. And each wife was given like 9 children and all that. So all his wealth, it just was managed because of the decisions he ended up making with the wealth he had. So as he passed the generational wealth, this other time my other uncle was like, it runs in the family that our father had many wives, so he was now marrying his third wife. So in there I was like, okay, I'm only going to take the best side of him married wife, because I didn't see him as a wealthy man. Like, why are you going around marrying all these wives which you can't really take care of? So we need to also figure out, okay, are we following the generational wealth or the generational cases, or those traditional rituals which doesn't really serve you to get generational wealth? So, as I mentioned that 99% of people, we don't pass on generational wealth to the next generation. So why do we struggle as Africans specifically to have generational wealth? Okay, if you want, we can blame it on slavery, on colonization, on apartheid. We can all put that blame on there. Because Some people, they are starting like from number 5, as we're starting back there at number 0, just to catch up. And also if you look at us, many people we do have lectures. Like when I was, like with me, my dad was very honest with us. Like I'm born in a family of 6. He was very honest with us. Like when we finished school, me, my older sister, my younger brother, was the first grade, and then my 3 other siblings. He was like, okay, I've done my part. So you guys, now your turn to take these 3 kids to university. So now I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to look for a job, catch up with my life and all that. But I also have this burden of paying school fees for my siblings as well. Because I have to do that. Because if I don't do that for them, which means they are also like, will not do anyway. So we also have these lectures, which many of us we still trying to catch up on a lot of things. We still try like to build our wealth because we started like from number 0, and now we also have these other people. We need to take care of our parents, our siblings, and all that. And we also need to start like doing that for our children. So like if you look at it, like we are starting very high, unlike other people. And the other thing which I also like when I was actually thinking about it, like, do we really pass financial security and education when we're talking about generational wealth? I mentioned about my dad and his company. Like there was not that education for us, like, okay, this is how I want you to do in this company. This is what you have to do, like for all of us as his children. It was mainly like for my brothers only because they are the boy child and they can benefit more from that. And with that help us. So I feel like that's what we still struggle, especially us as Africans, to build generational wealth. So, but if you manage to fight this, to fight this whatever we are struggling with, generational wealth can serve as a means to address these disparities and create more equitable future. So we still have a long way to go and more work to work on. But after I've said all that, how can we start building generational wealth? So my number 1, which I love most, education. I love to say that the more you learn, the more you earn. And on education, it's not only like through the traditional route, but also you have that time to invest in yourself. With me, my parents, they were not educated. My mom, unfortunately, she couldn't go to school. But looking at it, if she had the opportunity to go to school, she was very intelligent. I always laugh with my siblings that I think our intelligent side of ours, it came from my mother. Because she seems like to be an intelligent person, but she was just unfortunate that she couldn't go to school. And on my dad's side, we used to joke about it. I was like, you know what? I used to say the soft time. That's how bad it was in school. But anyway, that's how bad it was in school. But with him, we knew that education can take us to another level. We made sure that we go to good schools. We went to boarding schools. Me and my siblings, the 6 of us, we all went to boarding schools. So he made sure that, okay, we knew that if I educate these children, they will start from somewhere. So with me, I always love to say that the most important thing you can do to yourself is educate yourself. Because the moment when you upgrade your education, obviously, especially us as Africans, you can go there and bargain more and ask for a promotion. Like if I look at myself back in 2019, I started to do my certification of Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. I registered for that and I was like, I want to do this. When I finished my first level, I went to my manager and I was like, okay, you know what, I finished my first level and I think I want a promotion. Then they were like, no, I think this is very great. We can train you to start to be an accountant, and they give me that training. I completed my certification early this year and I went to them with my manager and I was like, okay, I'm done with my certification and I think I'm ready to go to another level. Then they gave me a promotion to be a management accountant. So why I'm saying like education can be open building a generational wealth. Looking back in 2019, on how much I was earning and how much I'm now earning now, my salary is just like more than 300%, if you look at that. So all that extra money which is coming to me, I can now start building generational wealth for my children and the children to come. And so if you want to be in that 1% of people who build generational wealth, you need to invest in yourself. Like do personal development courses. If you know there's something you are lacking on, you need to improve yourself on. Go on YouTube, register with the college and start doing that just to improve yourself, right? Then number 2, for us to build generational wealth, financial literacy. Many people don't know how to manage our money because we never have that knowledge of how to manage our money. Like when you look at it, we just think like, okay, with money you just have to earn and you spend. That's what most people will know about money, but that's not all to it. There was a study which was done and almost 55% of Africans, they are financially illiterate, many people, they don't know how to manage money, like just the basics of managing money, like how to do your budget, how to save, how to invest, responsible debt management. And many people, when we look at it, like maybe if you want to start a business, we are afraid to even go to the bank to get credit because we don't know that credit, if you use it good, if you use it as good debt, you can actually build more for it. Many businesses, they flourish on using debt. But many people, the reason why we don't like debt is because we mismanage debt. Like when you get a profit, like maybe you get a good deal, and your profit today, the first thing you're thinking about, upgrading your car, upgrading your phone, upgrading your wardrobe. But is that necessary? Is it going to help you to build your generational wealth? So we need to take time to understand money. So we need to take time to understand how money works, how you can be best friends with your money. I always say that you need to be best friends with your money. What do you do to your best friends? You take care of them. They're close to your heart. That's the way we need to also to build with our money, so that we can use that 1% to build generational wealth. Right? Then the third one, how we can build generational wealth. Entrepreneurship, starting businesses, or having multiple streams of income. So many people who just rely on one source of income. It's either a salary, or if you get a business, it's just that one business. And what do we do at the end of the day? We are burdening that one source of income because we've got this one source of income which is only coming, right? And we've got all these other expenses here. Like you have to pay your mortgage, or if you are renting, you are paying your rent, you have to pay school fees, there's also the tax, there's also this, just from one salary. Only just from one source of income. And the equation won't balance because you have all these other expenses which are just relying on that one source of income. So we need to think deep and think beyond that one source of income. If you are, maybe we all have gifts here, you are good at something. If you are good with singing, start singing and maybe you start earning money from that. And other people, the reason why we don't start earning other streams of income, because we think like maybe the money is little. But if I can tell you there's no money which is little, maybe you start something and it ends with 500 rand per month. That 500 rand will start using maybe to buy veggies or tomatoes or whatever. Then we are freeing the money from your source of income we are relying on that next source of income. And now that 500 rand, you can start also maybe using it to invest or to sell or to even open a policy or do something. So we need to start looking at having multiple streams of income so that we don't burden just one source of income. If we have multiple streams of income, each income, you know that, okay, this income is for school fees, this income is for rental, this income is for black tax. You know that each income we are getting is going to interest, this duty. So we need to think beyond our salary. When you go there, let's just think what else can we do to start earning more money. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to deprive the lifestyle we want, right? But in that, for us not to deprive that lifestyle we want, we need to have more streams of income. You can't do everything on just one source of income. So let's think deeper. And if you want to be that 1%, and today I know we are going to learn a lot. Munyaj is going to show Airbnb, and there's a lot we are going to be learning today. So we need to take charge of that and see what other streams of income can we add to our portfolios. Then the fourth one, on how we can build generational wealth, property ownership. I love this topic of property ownership, and I know we're going to learn more. Chapiwach is going to talk about how to invest in Dubai. I'm also looking forward to it on how to invest in Dubai. So, as I remember growing up, I was a boarder. This other day, my dad came to pick us at school. So my dad used to like to drive those sport cars. Yeah, he used to drive those sport cars. So this time the car he came with, like I could hear it when it was there, like it was still very far, like a kilometer far. I've never seen it. Now it's coming because he came to pick us very early in the morning. There was one light, the other light was not working. And you know how we from my school, we used to laugh at each other. Then I'm like, it should be my dad. I quickly went to my dorm and I took my bags and I started walking to the sound. I didn't want my friends to laugh at me. So he picked me first, then we went to pick my sister. So on the way, I'm like, we used to call him Mudara, to his old man. And I'm like, but Mudara, name Chiti Makisa, so like, why do you want to embarrass us? Then he just kept quiet. Then they started driving, he was like, okay, we want to pass through this place. He bought another property. We want to pass through this place. Then he started like sharing his stories, like, okay, I bought this property when we were at school, so we need to pass through it. And he was like sharing with us the dream he he had like some place he had bought. So now looking back at it, he was more into property investing. Like, he didn't mind the luxury life. Like, the car, the way we staying, he used to stay in ghetto. Like, I'm like, okay, this man, what's wrong with him? But looking back at him, he was looking more into the generational wealth because my dad has got many properties, like more than 5, and 2 of them are commercial estates. And some of my siblings, they even staying in those houses. So he made that groundwork for us. I always say to my siblings, like, okay, guys, we are sitting on gold because there is land. There is properties here. We just need to make sure that it flourishes, it goes to the next generation which are coming. So he was that kind of man that, okay, so now looking back at it, I can say, oh, it's not me. He told me generational wealth. Because he was there to properties, he was like, okay, the car doesn't matter. I'm sure that each all of my kids, they can get their own properties when they grow up. And they can start from somewhere, instead of starting from number 0. So we need to really look into real estate. And the other thing which I love about properties as well, like it hedges against inflation. Like the economy can change and all that, but nothing can happen to your property. You know that if you buy properties, you are keeping them for your children, your children's children, right? So you need to also like look into property, research more, and go and have those rental properties, start getting income from those rental properties. I know that what she usually said us like some nice deals, and we'll be like, okay, if I have the money, then I will just like get this deal. So those are the type of conversations we need to start here. Like, okay, where can I get a cheaper property to do rental income, or maybe to start a BNB business? We need to have those type of conversation and really need to look into property ownership. Then, the last point, how we can build generational wealth, estate planning. Creating an effective estate plan is crucial for preserving generational wealth. This includes drafting wills, establishing trusts, and ensuring the smooth transfer of assets to heirs. Estate planning can help minimize taxes, protect assets, and ensure the continued growth for future generations. But if you look at this, especially when I look at my parents, there was a time when I asked him, like, Dad, do you have a will? Then the way he looked at me like, are you planning on killing me? He didn't even want to have that conversation of a will. Then I was like, but the will just helps you, like you're just planning. You're just planning for that life because we don't know. Then in my mind I was like, I wanted to ask him, but I didn't ask him because do you have a contract with God? Why are you not comfortable talking about this? No one of us is a contract with God. So these are some of the conversations we need to be talking about. But I'm not going to jump deeper into this because I know my Grace, she's going to be talking about this. And I know we also have a lawyer who's going to talk about estate planning. I'm not really an expert in this. But for us to do generational wealth, we also need to think of estate planning and also thinking of that life after we are born. Because this is the time to do it. You don't know what tomorrow will be like, right? But when I was preparing my presentation, I was like, okay, we can't really end on how only to build this generational wealth. We also need to look at what habits can we start cultivating for us to build generational wealth. Because when it comes to money, our mindset plays the most important role. Because if your mindset is still there, like you still have that scarcity mindset, whatever money you are getting, you won't see that this is an opportunity for me to use this money to build generational wealth. So we need to try to like, change the habit we have in our money so that we can be friends with our money. So the first habit we need to learn, if you're not already doing it, you need to live below your means. Other people say live within your means, but for me, I like to say live below your means. So what do you mean? With means, it means your income. So whatever your expenses, they need to be below the income you are making. I know many people will make a mistake of getting lifestyle inflation. Like when you get a 5% increment at work, you go, you upgrade your car, now your expenses jump up 5% higher, but only the 5%. Does the equation still balance? It doesn't balance. So each time when you get an increment effect, maintain your lifestyle the way it was, and that extra money goes to build your generational wealth. So if you're not really clever about it, you notice that, okay, you're always getting increments and all that, but because you're not being really clever, you always say that lifestyle inflation, and you'll be surprised, okay, I had a salary increase, but what really changed? I don't know where the money is going. So we need to learn to know our means. Then number 2, we need to understand the season we are in. We are all in different seasons here. We need to understand the concept of seeds and fruit. Many people, we get this thing like, okay, we want to be somewhere, maybe the Lord is blessed with a seed. What do you do with it? A seed, you plant it. After you plant it, you nurture it so that it grows. Then when it grows, You have your fruit, then you start having your fruit. But many people will want to jump seasons. You just want to start harvesting. But if you eat your seed, it means you won't have anything to harvest. You need to understand that concept that we are in different seasons. And always, each time when you get an opportunity, ask yourself, is this a seed or is this a fruit? Am I supposed to be using this money or am I supposed to be building generational wealth with it? We need to have that habit or being intentional and being conscious, asking yourself those questions. Like you just need to come easy to you, like, okay, what is it? Am I in the season of harvesting or am I in the season of planting? With me, I always like look at my dad. I think sometimes he was in a season of harvesting, but he always thought like I need to plant, and he never enjoyed his fruit. So you must also be careful with that. Just be very intentional and ask yourself what season are you in. Then the third one, the third habit we need to work on is loving yourself. Because when you love yourself, it's very easy to love your money. With me, I used to suffer with this one very much. I used to have low self-esteem. I used not to love myself. So with that, you notice that you end up like spending money for people's validation. You end up like using your money, you don't have boundaries with your money. Like if someone just goes like, let's go for a lunch, and it's not on your plans, it's not on your budget, you just end up taking your credit cards and you go, you join them, but it was part of your plans. So you need to love yourself. And when you love yourself, you're able to say no and not feel guilty about it. Because there's nothing to be ashamed about. Just say, you know what, girl, this was not part of my plan this month. I don't have that extra money. Let's plan it for next month. You know, that kind of thing. So you need to love yourself so that it will be also easy to love your money. Then, the fourth one, we need to understand that you need to know that you are your only competition. Like now with social media, it's so easy like to be very competing with filters, people posting, they take best life and all that. But we don't know what season are they in. Maybe they're in their season of harvesting. And you are in that season of planting. And now you want to be like them. So just understand that you are your own competition. Like if you look at yourself, if you look at the mirror, who do you see? You see yourself, right? That's the competition you have to be competing with. You need to compete with your procrastination. You need to compete with your ego. You need to compete with your fears. You need to be competing with that thing, okay, I'll start tomorrow, and stop doing that. You need to always, like each day, you need to think and say, okay, I need to be a better version of myself than I was last year, than I was yesterday, because I want to be that 1% of people who build generational wealth. So I also want to say that you need to also mind your own business. Like when it comes to your money, you need to mind your own business. Because if you want to mind other people's business, you end up using money which you are not supposed to be using. That money is for you to sit for the generations to come, right? So stay in your lane and focus on that lane and just understand that. Our number 5 is remember your future self is as important as your present self. So many people will live for today. When you just think about your money, you just think like now. You don't think of long term. You don't think that, okay, whatever I'm doing, my children also needs to benefit from it. Also, like, okay, my children's children also need like to start from number 5, like how other people are doing it, instead of starting from number 0. So how do you like take care of your future self? You need to be paying that future self first. Like if you you need to sit down with yourself and ask yourself questions like, okay, if I get to that age where I won't be able to work anymore, what kind of lifestyle do I want to live? So with this rate you are spending your money, will you be able to sustain that lifestyle you want? Or you'll be that person who will be calling latex. You now want your children to take care of you. So I always say like our generation, we are the generation to break the latex cycle. Yes, with our parents we can forgive them because they never had the opportunity that we are given today. But with us, no, we should not burden our children with that. They should help us from their own hearts. So now is the time to start taking care of that future because it's gonna come. Now we still be able to work, hustle around, do this, and this, and this. But each year we are getting older, and there's that age which is coming where we won't be able to work anymore. So we need also to start like taking care of that future. With me, I love traveling. So when I retire, I think I'll be that British granny who will be like traveling the world and doing all that. So I need to start saving for that money and also building generational wealth in that case. So you need to ask yourself those questions. What age do I want to retire? What lifestyle do I want to maintain when I retire? Do I want to burden my children with all this lifestyle I want? oh, I want my children to start from a certain level. If they assist me, they assist me from their own heart, not that they have to be doing it like the way we do it. Like it's an obligation for us to be doing it, right? So, the last one which I love, if you're in our networking events, I always talk about this one. Stress over what you have control. Many people will love worry. We love to stress. We just love to complain about anything. But before you even go into that energy, ask yourself what you're stressing yourself about. Do you have any control over it? Like, okay, the economy is getting bad, interest rates are rising, there's high unemployment, there's a lot which is happening, but do you have control over it? If the answer is no, you don't have control over it, don't waste your energy stressing over it. What you have to stress over is, how can you start having multiple streams of income? Where can you go and network with other people? What can you start like investing in so that you can build generational wealth? What can you start doing so that you can build that 1% of people who build generational wealth? That you have control over, so that you can put your energy to it. You can like stress about it because you have control over. But anything which you don't have control over, don't waste your energy on it. So this takes us to the end of my presentation. But I just have a food for thought. Ladies, you heard me talking about generational wealth. How many of us think in that 1% of people who do generational wealth and who wants them to take charge of their finances? Yes, so we need to start working on it because it doesn't come easy. You need to change your habits. There's certain things you need to change. So in closing, I just want to say that a life of luxury sounds nice, but generational wealth sounds much better. So we need to always remember that, yeah, if you want to be in that 1%, there's where you need to be starting doing. Thank you so much, ladies.